Okay, so we'll start with the minutes new features. So I'm going to show you both bookmarking and then motions. So this is a meeting that I have. You can see the agenda's done. So if Dee Dee had finished her agenda, I've started those minutes, and then I'm going to go into this where it's after the fact. So you can see I have a recording that I've tied to it. So if I click on this video, then I'm taken to the video page that also has the minutes. Okay, so on this page, have you been to this page before? I think you've just been linking it and you haven't had a need for this yet.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so this is great. I know you're finishing most of your minutes during the meeting, but if you do have it here, you can kind of watch it again if you need to, and then you can minimize it so it's kind of out of the way because you were there and you know what happened. You don't really need to watch what happened. But this is great because I think I've shown you this. We're just going to minimize the side so we can see the real estate here. So now as I scroll down, as I hover over these things that happened at the meeting, like call to order, there's a symbol here that looks like a little bookmark. So if you click on that, that'll bookmark to the current time that's playing on the video.
Okay, all right.
So I can go here and say, okay, then we did this, and then, you know, here's these activities. So you can, so each agenda item, you can say, that surprised me. They just started their meeting. All right, yeah, so that's bookmarking. So now whenever anybody else goes and looks on the meeting on this page, so if you're signed in users, they'll be able to click on this time and it'll jump to that on the recordings. They can say, okay, I want to know exactly when, you know,
okay,
when this happens, it's here. Now this page is not publicly facing yet, but these bookmarks are saved to your YouTube channel. So if I go to this YouTube page, you can see here, this is obviously our publicly facing YouTube video that everybody can see.
Is it going to bookmark while we're recording, or is it we just bookmark it after it's recorded?
It's only after the fact right now. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So after you post it, if you have bookmarks, it'll update your description to be like this. So everybody can still, you know, find exactly what they need on the YouTube page. Cool. Is that something you think you'll try out?
Yes, I think so. There's particular things in certain meetings that are a little bit controversial, and I'll probably go back and flag those.
Great. Cool. Yeah, we'd love to get this connected to live streaming. Definitely would be easier to do this during the meeting, but there's a lot more technical hurdles that we have to get through before we can do that live, but that is something we're interested in doing.
No, I think that's I mean, it's a good thing, because especially when they are doing contracts or they're doing resolutions or this or that, we'll be able to flag them, because they do come back later and ask, you know, about it. So that'll be a good thing,
Cool.
especially as we get into budgeting.
Yeah, I mean, I love what video adds. It hopefully makes your job easier as a minute taker to not have to like add all and type all the details that happened and hey, this was controversial and this is what
Yeah.
was discussed and stuff. You can just link to it and then, just record the votes and motions and that's it. So you're actually your minutes are pretty good about that. I don't know if you've seen some of the other counties that do some more involved minute taking.
Do they? Oh my goodness.
It's some of them are very particular. Okay, so the second thing is if I click add new, so I'm typing and taking minutes here,
Mm-hmm.
you have your votes, and so now you have motions. So motions always happen first. So you can click a voting member for motion and for a second. So I can say Bob and then Tyler.
Okay.
And then I go to the vote tab and, those same folks are here and I can submit my vote. And again, that's every time. So a new one, you can take a motion. You don't have to have a motion before a vote. You can save those independently, but yeah, that's there. And again, that's just a tool for you right now, so it doesn't do anything to your text box here, but that's what we're working on right now. I'm super excited about helping you, like, okay, cool, when I say John and Tyler and vote and, all this, and then press submit, that then we can add it to your text box here. So that's what's coming soon.
Yes, because I type their names a lot. Point and click instead of putting their names in every time.
Yep. And then you can go back and look at them. So you can see Bob motioned there, Joe motioned here. So that's again, just for your help in getting the names right here. This is not available to the public or anything. Your minutes are the thing that becomes the PDF anyways. So
yeah.
Cool. All right, well, those are the big things. Those are the exciting things. So there's a couple other small things that I wanted to talk through with you. Yeah, there's two things here you'll notice in settings. So let's go to settings. All right, on the video tab, this is a little bit different. We completed our YouTube audit. They had some requirements for our integration, and so that's there. You'll see switch account if you have multiple channels are going to be available here. So if you have multiple channels, that's the same that was before. It just makes your editing a little more clear if you need to like disconnect from your YouTube channel.
Okay.
Oh, I wasn't done there yet. Okay, another feature that's added, I am really excited about it. It doesn't demo very well, but this will be really helpful for our live site that we get spun up for you, is that you can now add new users here. So you can just say like, oh, okay, I want, well, this is my site, so I can chambers at Liberty, remember county.texas.org or something. So I can add you as a user, and you can see that it's added me and it's added you at the bottom, and I can even like assign those roles as needed and say, okay, you are a submitter. But you'll see it still just says new user here because this user needs to still verify with Tyler Identity. So you actually are not going to be able to sign in because you're not a real user in our Tyler Identity servers.
Okay.
You and Nick and everybody, I'm sure, is working on getting you in Tyler Identity because that's what ties you to all the Tyler products. And so you have that single sign-on and everything. So this definitely, nothing is kind of changing on the back end at all. We still required that Tyler Identity user setup ahead of time, but now this just allows you that, once those users exist in Tyler Identity, you can come in here and just enter in their user information yourself. Does that make sense?
Would that be people who can view the minutes, or is that people who can edit the minutes? Or does it, I guess it depends on how we set them up, right?
Correct. Yeah. So you can edit their users here. You don't need to add any of the public users. This would be anyone that can log into TMM. So yeah, whether it's a submitter, a board member, or an admin user.
I was thinking more of the county attorney, because he likes to look stuff up a lot.
Yes. Yes, we will want to add that person for sure, so that they can search and.
But just not edit.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Cool. So that's what's new here. What else do I have? A small thing, I will call this out. This is for DD on the agenda. For some reason, you could only mark attachments as confidential on the agenda item page. You can now do that also on the agenda builder page. So you can do that in both places. This we hot fixed backwards, so you guys already saw this, but there's a cancel button on the document search page. We did some tweaks to URLs. So if you are sharing, so if I can go back here. Oh, back to top. There's a button for that. Great. So, it has to be a published one. Let's go to that. Or I don't have to. Say you have an issue on your minutes and you want to email me and you're like, Krista, this one. Now I can copy and I can paste that, and you can just send that link directly to me. It'll open up, if I'm already logged in, it'll open it up for me. So there's some redirection that wasn't quite happening. He was asking you to log in like multiple times. So now it just opens the page as long as you're already logged in.
Okay.
And the last thing then is this small thing, which is templates can be separated for agendas and minutes. So this is pretty cool for you and DD. So on the settings page, on meeting types. So we'll just check out one that I have here, this special meeting. Okay, so I know we've spent a lot of time setting up your templates, make sure the header is correct. So this is the header you selected for the agenda. You can now select a separate or create a separate header for minutes. So if you want your minutes to look different, if we want to add some of that notice or cover page or something to your minutes document, then we can do that and it won't affect anything that DD is doing.
That'll be good on the thing like noting the time the meeting starts and who is present and is it present before we start, because I'm kind of writing that into the call to meeting part, and it'll be wonderful to put that up at the, up in the beginning, move that around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't even putting call to meetings and some other stuff on the special meeting, so those minutes have been just kind of wonky too. So it'd be nice to kind of reprogram that a little bit.
Great. Okay.
Because I'm literally writing, he called the meeting at this time, all these people were present, and we considered the above noted agenda item. So it's like, here's what we did, but we talked about the thing up above, and then I put, or either that or I'm completely rewriting the whole thing in the, the little minutes part. So the regular agendas are fine, really, but the special meetings are kind of messed up. So it'll be nice to reprogram those a little bit.
Okay. Great. So those are the new features. Again, this release that you have now was a little shorter one, so I don't know whether it was a lot or a little bit. That concludes the notes that I have for what's new to show you. Go ahead.
When do you think we'll be ready to start? I mean, when do you think we'll have it ready so that we can start putting in the? I guess we've got to go live or something. Are we waiting on Nick? Is that what's holding us up?
Yes, we are. The last update I got last week from him was that he was waiting on an SSL. I was a little surprised that it was taking that long, but I don't know the nuances, so sometimes who knows, that stuff can take a long time. But we should, I know that's underway, and he's got Tyler Identity started, I believe. So he's coordinating that with on our side, that is Kevin, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And so I was going to follow up again this week just to see if they check those boxes and are moving forward. But yeah, we're still, I mean, gosh, I can't believe it's like halfway through April. So I know we were talking like late May, early June. So I think we're still on track for that.
Okay. That sounds good. I actually found some of that Sarah stuff when I was rearranging this weekend, and I pulled it out and set it aside for him. So I need to get that. I don't know. I don't understand why he's having trouble either. But there was, when all the stuff was initially set up, we had another guy here, and his name was Daryl. And I think Daryl probably put everything in his name or his email. And when he left, that was deleted. And now, I think they're sending it to the wrong people, or they've got it linked to the wrong people. But there shouldn't be any problems fixing that, if he's getting a hold of the right people. But I did pull up a bunch of Sierra stuff, or find a bunch of Sierra stuff when I was moving drawers around, filing cabinets around this weekend. So from when I first signed, because it was a big deal for me to get my own web page, and then we had an issue with the security setting. It wasn't a secure setting, and we had to fix it. And I still have all of those notes, so I'm going to give it to them. Hopefully, maybe they'll help.
Good. Yeah, that's. I know how that is. We have some things on our end that are like that, like, oh, who has that, and now it's lost somewhere, and yeah,
Plus,
like some of this YouTube stuff, it's like, oh, it comes to me, not anyone in IT.
Those certificates should be an obvious, easy fix, but evidently they're not.
Yep.
For web pages and all that.
Mm-hmm. Great. So I had a couple of questions for you regarding one of the things that we're working on now. Okay. And then I also am happy to, with the time we have, if you wanted to look at some of that template stuff together on your site, we can do that too. Does that sound good?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So we are working on minutes attachments in this upcoming sprint. So that'll come out sometime in late June.
Okay.
For you. So minutes attachments is going to, in the example you gave, is we have 3 contracts that are added to an agenda item. So they are part of the agenda to say, look at these 3 contracts, and then at the meeting, you choose one of those contracts and you create this additional document that says this is the one that we are going with, right? I don't remember what you called that document, but
and they're not signed at the time. They're like looking at them and saying, okay, well, we approve this, or we want to change this language, or what have you. But once we get the final contract that's signed by everyone, then I need to put that into the minutes. So that needs to be scanned in and attached to the a finalized document, basically.
Great.
At some point, it would be nice, and it might be too much, but we're doing a lot of plats, and there seems to be a lot of interest in plats, and we're approving plats and the thing. And I don't have a plat scanner yet, but I'm thinking I'm going to try to get one. And or I don't know, maybe if I could figure out a way to link it to Eagle, but we still don't have scanned plats. So, but at some point it'd be nice to be able to link, things like that. Where things are that are tied to that particular item.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways we could handle that today. Is that, if you do have that document somewhere, we could, I mean, it is an Eagle Recorder, so we would need to like export and then just reattach it so that it would be in the TCM as well.
Okay.
One way to do it. And the second way to do it is if you have, I believe you have self-service with Eagle Recorder. So you have like a public view of that document.
Yes.
If you have a specific URL to that plat, you could add that URL to your agenda item or your minutes or whatever you needed. And then that would link that to a different location so people could look at it.
Something else I'm playing with especially with these commissioners, because now that they've discovered Zoom, getting them to this courthouse is like pulling teeth. They do not want to leave their offices and drive the 20, 30, 40 minutes to get to the courthouse. So I've gotten to the point where I'm sending them and getting them to sign via DocuSign. Maybe we'll figure out another way or figure out, but at this point I'm using DocuSign. So what I'm getting back for signed resolutions or signed contracts is basically a DocuSign document, but it's a PDF. So we could pull that up and attach.
That's the board members you're saying that, like that contract that you just described, like they want to sign that using DocuSign instead of coming in?
They've been signing them with DocuSign, yeah.
Okay.
It's weird, but yes, I mean, legally it works because, it has certificates and stuff that attach to it, about their signatures. But it's faster because I can, put the document into DocuSign and send it all off to them an email and say sign, and they just click, 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 and then send it back. So it's pretty quick.
Yeah, that's great, and I'm glad that we recorded this because I'm going to share that use case with our teams that are looking into adding something like DocuSign for signing. That would be.
I mean, I think we could probably incorporate, Adobe signatures or something, but right now I've just been using DocuSign to do it.
Okay.
But it sure makes it easy because, it just puts when I have to have all 4 commissioners sign off on something, it's easy for them to, kind of click, 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 and then get it right back to me. It took them a little while to get it, but now that they do, they like it. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
But those could be uploaded, right? Because those are just straight PDFs pretty much.
Yes, absolutely.
Instead of printing and rescanning and all that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. There are some things they sign in court, but they're usually treasurer's reports. Okay. But I'm not sure how I would incorporate that other than I could have a signature pad and have them come over and sign it. But those, I guess, we'll just have to scan. But only the people in court sign them. That's what's so weird. I don't think they're sending them off to the other guys. It's really just a thing that says, I think it's for the treasurer that they considered, her stuff and okayed it, paying bills or what have you. So they sign those every time. And then sometimes there's a thing like last time, April is Child Abuse Month, and um, so there's like blue ribbons all over the courthouse, and they did a proclamation and took some pictures and this and that. So uh, we need to probably scan in those proclamations and that.
Okay. Yeah, that's another great example. I'm trying to find us a attachment here.
It's
Oh,
not
we have that.
real common, but it happens enough, you know. They'll name a month a certain thing, or they'll say a day is so and so's day or something like that. And then they'll have a proclamation, and then Jay usually gets up there and takes pictures with whoever, the board or family members or what have you. So that happens occasionally. But right now, those documents aren't going into the, those aren't being automatically put in the minutes, but I think they should.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kind of a nice thing.
Yeah, that would be nice. So I wanted to show you how we add attachments today to items. And I had a few questions for you about that process. So here you can see we have one attachment that's on here, and this is again on the agenda. So if I want to add an additional attachment, I click Add Attachment, and it gives me my 4 options here to add additional attachments. And let's go ahead and do that. So I have another attachment here. Oh, here's Charles. So I want to design something similar for the minutes page. So you would also, select, okay, I want to add something, choose how you want to add it. Sorry, I guess my computer is quite slow today.
Mine's been like that all morning. Well, it's having trouble with that add-on. I wasn't sure what you were asking me about the last.
Yes.
Or first. Are you talking about where it sits on the page?
Yeah, a number of things. So I wanted to show you when this thing stops spinning, what it looks like to have multiple attachments on here.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So here we go. So we have like 2 attachments on here, and I can like drag and drop and reorder them if I want to. So this is 2 attachments that are on the agenda. If we add minutes attachments, we need some sort of separation between, hey, these are agenda attachments and these are minutes attachments. And so we are wanting to put like a line or a box or like something to designate that, hey, these are agenda ones that you can't change, and then these are minutes ones that I can change. Does that make sense to you so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Although I probably won't alter the agenda ones. What I'll do is I'll add, like, there's probably going to be a proposed contract under the agenda, and then what I'll end up adding is the final contract, with the final language and the signatures on it, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or like that proclamation that they issue, or
And would you want that to be like the final one to replace the proposed one, or do you just want it like added in addition? Like, okay, yeah, this is what was proposed, and then here's the final one.
I think we should add it in addition.
Okay, perfect. So when I press print up here and I print a packet, my packet includes everything, right? So it's including my summary, and it's including all of my attachments. And the attachments in this packet are added in the order that we just kind of designated through that drag and drop. So here we have Charles first, and then we have Marion.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see here we have, our document, Charles, and then Marion. So my question to you is, again, if we have like a separate agendas items and minutes items, do you want it to be minutes items that come first, like the final first, or do you want and then proposed, or do you want all the agenda items, so all the proposed ones, followed by the final ones, which are the minutes attachments?
Oh my goodness. I would think for the minutes that the minutes attachments should come before the agenda items, because the agenda items would just be for your information. I mean, they're viewable under the agenda side,
Okay.
realistically. But yeah, I would think that the finished document should come first.
Okay.
The only thing we'd be adding would be signed completed things. When the agenda comes out, it's just proposed stuff, and they do change them. Now, if it was real paper, she would have the actual contract, and then they would sign it in actuality, and then eventually it would go in a file, and I would scan it in. But to do it electronically, yeah, I think it should be first, because it's the actual thing that they approved in the commissioners meeting.
Gotcha. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. So last question then. Can you think of any weird edge cases or special situations where you might need to have something else different, like that you wouldn't want minutes to be first, or you'd want things to be like mixed up, or like anything that we don't want to handle?
Um,
Because it would be, let me just clarify one thing for you, sorry, is that we would have, um, I guess, all the attachments would be at the end, so it'd be by agenda item. So it would be agenda item, minute attachment, agenda attachments, and then, next agenda item, minutes attachments, then agenda item. So it would be kind of dispersed in that way by agenda item. Does rather
well, I mean, I guess we could. It means you have to kind of scan through the agenda items to find the signed minutes version. Um, I mean, and really and truly what we're adding or putting in there is any alterations or changes, and we're putting in signatures. So we're putting the for real thing as opposed to the proposed thing. In the file, if you had a paper file, it would be one thing, because they would have, signed or replaced the agenda document probably. I don't know if they even keep them, if they alter them. If they just approve it and they don't alter it, then it would be there, and we probably wouldn't add anything to it. Which a lot of the, I'm about to say junk they go through, a lot of the stuff they go through is, it's like, what's a good example? I give them a monthly report. It's a monster, but I give them a monthly report. For some unfathomable reason, they want details, and like every credit card transaction. So they're huge reports. Because we do a couple hundred, $300,000 worth of, transactions every month, and they're little. It's like $30 here, $23 there. So we give them these monster reports, and I don't even think they read them. I think the auditor does think that same thing, gives them a monster report, and they just kind of go, we're going to approve it. And, they don't hardly even discuss it. So do you see what I mean? It's just it's just the attachment that's in the agenda is just, they're going to approve it, and that's all there is to that. But some of them actually are contractual, and you know, where they're buying asphalt or so, I don't know. They buy a dump truck or they buy, computer equipment or whatever. And then it ends up having a contract going with 19. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I love hearing your specific examples, even if it's junk. um,
Um,
okay.
so a lot of the stuff is just stuff that they're going to improve, but some of the stuff is actually important stuff that they're signing off on and they have to put their signature to and this and that. Things like they can sell fireworks for Memorial Day,
Mhm.
which is on the last one. I don't think they sign anything. I think the guy sends in a piece of paper that says, please have them consider selling fireworks on Memorial Day, and then they vote, yay, we're going to do it. And that's all. I mean, there's no other documentation. But then sometimes it's an interlocal agreement with another city or town where they're going to fix roads or provide some service of some kind, sanitation or whatever. And those are actually contracts that get signed by a lot of people, and then they eventually would end up in the minutes. So we would add them in once everybody signs off on it. So, and then, like I said, there's plats they approve for subdivisions. But right now, I don't have any way to reference where they are, except that they're somewhere in our file over here in Eagle. So it kind of varies, I guess. But the contractual stuff is the stuff that would be added.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that's finalized in some format. Well, once they talk about it or consider it or approve a bid where they have multiple people bidding on something, and then
Mm-hmm.
they'll say, well, we want to pick so and so, and sometimes they do it by precinct, which gets really confusing because it's like precinct 1 is picking Tyler, and precinct 2 is picking who's one of y'all's competitors, co-file or somebody. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh man.
But they do that in the middle of the meeting, and so I have to write all that down. But then there ends up paperwork coming out that with signatures and this and that goes in to the minutes with it. So
Yeah. Okay.
that would be the stuff we were adding. But some of the stuff that's in the agenda, all they're doing is saying, okay, yeah, we're approving, whatever that is, fireworks for Memorial Day.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like we do want to keep all of the agenda attachments. We just need to be able to add new minutes attachments and put them first because that's what changed and that's what's most important. Is that
That's what I think. Yeah.
okay? Great. No, thank you. That's exactly what I needed, and we're again working on those stories now. So we're really excited to get you those features coming soon. So the other thing that we're working on, oh, I guess I mentioned it already. I'm just still excited about it. Is the the minute taking with the entry into the text box. So those are the two major um, features that we're working on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll be good. Um, when do you think it'll start putting the voting record into the minutes where other people can see it? Or is that just
The
always going to be my thing?
Um, it's always gonna be your thing. The typed entry and like that printed PDF is really what we're emphasizing. A lot of reasons that we're, going with, some of the simplified views for that public is because so many people are using their phones these days. And
Yeah,
so if we try to have this panel and try to do everything on a phone, it becomes too much. So having the PDF and the YouTube channel, like have everything there and that's responsive and that fits on your phone, I think that's the way to go. So we're trying to do what we can to make the minutes taking and make that PDF document faster to create and more accurate as you create it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, do you have any? We have heard from some larger counties that they are wanting something more with motions and votes, and I am calling it voting member profiles almost. Like they want like this to look up the voting history that somebody did for all of time. Have you
Oh,
heard of?
that's interesting. No, I haven't. I don't get a lot of requests for that.
Okay.
I think the thing that takes the most time in a meeting is, what I do before the meeting is I take the agenda and I actually kind of fill in the minutes how I think they're going to go. And after sitting in all these meetings, I can sort of anticipate what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, last time, oh my goodness, there was something in there. Oh, I know, it was something Ricky Brown had submitted, but it wasn't really anything to vote on. It was just sort of a report. And so I had three things on there. I had motion to accept, motion to approve, motion take no action. I had like three things written on there, which are the three ways they could have gone with it. And in the meeting, they actually were kind of fumbling with it. And I said, do you want to move to accept? And the commissioner said, yes, that's what I want to do. I move to accept the submission. But what I usually do is I try to anticipate what they're going to do and write it out ahead of time. And then while they're talking about it, if they change something or add something, I try to type it in while they're doing it. And then I usually have a little box underneath. It's got motion, second, and then I type in their name. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit time consuming because I have to sit there and, motion by Bruce Karbowski, second by Greg Arthur, so-and-so voted nay. I usually have all their names that they voted yes, because they almost always do.
Uh-huh.
And so if somebody changes their mind and votes differently, then I have to kind of cut and paste the name real quick. But I can usually do it pretty quick in a meeting. They don't get too far ahead of me. And if I can't, then I go back after the meeting and I, listen to the tape and then I fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of that stuff I can kind of guess ahead of time. So I pre-fill it in. Actually,
So
the
you want
county,
some, sorry, go ahead.
no, well, the county judge didn't have its agenda with him. And I gave him my copy of, which had all the minutes on it. And he's like, wait a minute, we haven't voted on this. I went, oh, excuse me. That's my anticipated vote, But it really, once I've hung around them all this time, I kind of know what they're going to do. So I kind of type it and get it ready. And then if they change something or do something different, then I can fill it in. But like this thing we've got, it was moved by and seconded by with the blank.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I have, but I have it just online so I can sit there and go, motion by colon, and I've got, I can just, type in or paste the names in real quick.
So you want help with kind of the pre-entry text stuff, is what I'm hearing, like all the words surrounding the person that motioned and seconded as well.
Well, essentially that's what I do is I make a little thing that says motion by, second it, and I have ayes, nays, abstain, absent, and I make this little thing and I stick it under every single item in the minutes. But that means I'm repeating it 30 something times
Right.
before
Yeah.
every meeting. But it makes it easy to fill it in while the meeting's going on. So, because I'm not typing, motion by so-and-so, I'm just putting their name in, the blank, kind of like what you've got there.
Yeah. that's a great example of what we want to add is give you control as to what this text is and what the formatting is surrounding the blanks that we have here. And if you want that during the meeting or before the meeting, we're going to give you the chance to create as many of those as you want and just be able to add that text in as needed.
Okay. Well, weirdly enough, they will come in and go out during a meeting. So I've had meetings where a commissioner leaves to like go to a funeral. And so he votes on the first half, but he doesn't vote on the second half. He's actually absent for those.
Yeah.
And then I've had some that are late to the meeting and they'll come in about halfway and then they start voting. So having the ability to kind of, change it as we go is kind of helpful. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. They're not terribly, at least our guys aren't terribly good about getting there and sitting through the whole thing and participating. But for the most part they do. But here lately, there have been people, they just kind of come and go, which is weird. But
is it worse with them being remote?
A little bit. Sometimes it is technologically driven, like they're having technological problems and they just go on without them until they can get their internet working again and can get back in the meeting.
Right.
So
that meetings I'm in, like people just stand up and go get a drink of water or something and come back, and you're like, did they leave the meeting and come back or not? Like,
well, I mean, there's times when they've had trouble getting on or signing on, and then, like I said, there's times when oh, I've got to go to a funeral, so they'll do about 30 minutes of the meeting and then they take off, but I mean, not enough that we lose a, quorum, but the party's voting change, if so to speak. So, but I think it's a matter of being able to, in the way you have it set up, where I can say one is absent, one, I can alter that pretty quick. Yeah, on there.
Great.
And I can make notations. So it's not too bad, but the trick is just having it set up ahead of time. And I use pretty much the same template every single time. It's just a matter of, cut and paste under each item. And then, usually I'll go in and fill out what I think what the motion's going to say, which is usually something along the lines of what the agenda says. Approve the interlocal agreement, subject to the following changes, or something like that.
That's great. I am super excited to get you this next release. I know we have to wait till like June for that, but you're hearing what your needs are, like having that roll call kind of travel with you throughout the votes and throughout the minutes that you're taking makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm really excited about what we're building and helping you with all of those things. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I love it right now because I used to spend so much time, and I think the lady from Calhoun County was saying that the person who builds the agenda in her county judge's office was kind of an older person, and she's doing it in Word, and then she sends it to her, and she's got to retype all this stuff and all this. No, yep, been there, done that, and this is so much faster and so much easier. So they were basically doing what we were doing, which was a nightmare. I would spend, a couple of hours after work before a meeting, preparing these documents, and it doesn't take me that long anymore. I mean, I can crank them out real fast. So
that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. And yeah, I'm excited to get Calhoun not having to stay a couple hours after work either. So I think that's really great.
Well, trying to, you know what I mean, trying to take a Word document and an agenda and then rework it into the minutes, and it really is just a pain in the rear. But I wasn't even getting Word documents from Dee Dee. I was getting PDFs, which was even a bigger nightmare. to turn into a working document. So, but I think this is so much easier. I mean, I can crank it out in no time. I think that it's taken her a little while to get used to not just writing a Word document. And I think she still doesn't fully understand how to do it, but it's a lot better than it used to be.
It's a lot better than it used to be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And part of the reality with the corona and all that is it sort of inflicted technological change on people that were opposed to it. But now that they understand how it works and they're using it, they don't want to go back. So, I mean, we didn't have, where we could talk to people over at the jail via cameras, like Zoom meetings. We didn't have that before Corona, which we do now. And they used to bring them over in chains and over, from the jail to the courthouse and all this crazy stuff. And now that they've gotten used to doing it on a Zoom-like format, they're not going back. And I got to tell you, the commissioners that do Zoom every meeting, they don't want to go back. They don't want to have to drive over here. So I think a lot of these technological changes that were kind of forced on everyone because of the corona restrictions, I think they're going to stay with us. So, and that's I think that's a good thing. So doing everything on a Zoom meeting, I think that's going to keep moving forward. Making everything digital, even the signatures, I think that's going to keep moving forward. I don't think they're going to go back to the old way.
Yeah.
Some things, though, they have to sign in person, like those plats, the few that require their signatures. But the engineering guy just takes them. He's the one that drives to Cleveland or Dayton or whatever to get it signed. They don't come here. They rarely come here anymore. It's kind of funny. They like their remote, there's remote annexes in their town. So they just don't come to the main courthouse anymore. So,
yeah. Wow.
But it's,
I'm glad you're seeing the benefits, because it's I have seen those myself, and that's great to hear your stories. And I like the Zoom meetings too. It is kind of fun.
There's sometimes where it's nice to have people in a room, but I think that a lot of these, though, they're between the courts, the differing courts, and the way they've had to use it. Now, the jury thing, that's definitely going out the window, but the dealing with in custodies and people at the jail, and arraigning people at the jail and stuff like that, and doing these commissioners meetings with Zoom and all that, I think that's going to be our norm from here on out. So it's been good to get all of this working, so makes it so much easier. So I really like it. I really do, Krista. I think you've done a great job.
Thank you so much, Lee. That means a lot. We've come a really long way, and I appreciate everything that you've done to contribute and design this product. And we'll continue to make cool things together. So thank you.
Well, on the version we have now, so I can do a little bit of a different setup for minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That is pretty cool. So I may play with that a little bit. I think our next meeting is next Tuesday, so I've got a little bit of time.
Okay, great. Well, you probably saw my meeting pop-ups. I do need to hop to something else, but go ahead and go in there and check out the different headers, and then feel free to reach out via email or my phone number like you have before, and I'm happy to hop on and take a look at something with you. And
okay, that sounds wonderful. Thank you, Krista. Thank you for sharing.
I hope your back and muscles feel better.
Thank you. They will. I just shouldn't be lifting desks, It's kind of silly of me, but yeah.
All right. Have a great day, Lee. Thanks.
Bye-bye.